Okay. In Exodus 30, Yahweh continued building an altar out of acacia wood for burning incense. Make it 18 inches square and 36 inches high. The horns and the altar must be made out of one piece of wood. Cover all of it with pure gold, the top, the sides, the horns. Put a gold molding around it. Make 2 gold rings and put them below the molding on opposite sides to hold the poles for carrying it. Make the poles out of acacia wood. Cover them with gold. Put the altar in front of the canopy which hangs over the ark containing the words of my promise. I will meet with you there in front of the throne of mercy that is on the ark. Aaron must burn sweet-smelling incense on this altar every morning when he takes care of the lamps. Also, when Aaron lights the lamps at dusk, he must burn incense. For generations to come, an incense offering must be burnt constantly in Yahweh's presence. Never burn any unauthorized incense on the altar, or any burnt offerings or grain offerings. Never pour a wine offering on it. Once a year, Aaron must make peace with Yahweh by putting blood on its horns. Once a year for generations to come, blood from the offering must be placed on the altar to make peace with Yahweh. It is most holy to Yahweh. And then it talks in verse 11. Yahweh said to Moses, when you take a census of the Israelites, each person must pay Yahweh a ransom for his life when he is counted. Then no plague will happen to them when they are counted. As each person is counted, he must give 1/5 of an ounce of silver, using the standard weight of the holy place. This 1/5 of an ounce of silver is a contribution to Yahweh. Everyone counted who is at least 20 years old must give this contribution to Yahweh. The rich must not give more than the 1/5 of an ounce of silver, and the poor must not give less. This contribution is given to make peace with Yahweh and make your lives acceptable to Yahweh. Take the money the Israelites give to make peace with Yahweh and use it to pay the expenses of the tent of meeting. It will be a reminder for the Israelites in Yahweh's presence that the sins in their lives are removed. And then they go back into the bronze altar, a basin. Yahweh said to Moses, make a bronze basin with a bronze stand for washing. Put it between the tent of meeting and the altar and fill it with water. Aaron and his sons will use it for washing their hands and feet. Before they go into the tent of meeting, they must wash so that they will not die before they come near the altar to serve as priests and burnt offerings by fire to Yahweh. Something is going on here. You're talking about making something holy. Yahweh's telling you, this is what I want made, how I want it made. This is how you to do it. This is how you to use it. And then all of a sudden he talks about taking a census. And then after that he goes back to, this is how I want you to do this. We come across many important items in the book of Exodus. I'm going to focus on one strange instruction that's sandwiched in between all of the actual items of the tabernacle. As the text goes into details of the altar of incense, then the brazen laver, the holy oil, the incense, it takes time out to talk about how to take a census. We have a census coming up in 2020. They're talking about it. They want to argue about what kind of questions you have. It just seems out of place, as it was not a constructible item of the tabernacle, a piece of clothing or anything like that. It's the law of taking a census of the children of Israel. Exodus 30, verse 12, when thou takest the sum of the children of Israel after their number, then thou shalt give every man a ransom for his soul unto Yahweh when thou numbers them, that there be no plague among them when thou numbers them. The word taketh is number 5375, Massa. It means to lift. It means to bear up. Carry. Exodus 30:13. This they shall give every one that passes among them that are numbered half a shekel after the shekel of the sanctuary. A shekel is 20 gerahs. Half shekel shall be the offering of Yahweh. Everyone that passes among them that are numbered from 20 years old and above shall give an offering unto Yahweh. The rich shall not give more, because they're rich, and the poor shall not give less, because they're poor. Half a shekel, when they give an offering unto Yahweh to make an atonement for your souls. And thou shalt take the atonement money of the children of Israel, and shall appoint it for the service of the tabernacle of the congregation, that it may be a memorial unto the children of Israel before Yahweh, to make an atonement for your souls. Nasa is the Hebrew word for lift up, raise up, elevate. Even though it is not connected to the American NASA, NASA, it's still, they lift up something. They elevate something. They rise up something. Now, the next word in the English phrase, when thou takest the sum, the word sum, number 7218, Rosh, head, the top, the summit of a mountain, the upper part, the sheaf total. When thou takest the sum of the children of Israel, taking a census, was the word Rosh, which is the word for head. This means that the phrase, when thou takest the sum of the children of Israel, takes a census, actually says, lift up and elevate the heads of the sons of Israel. This was far more than just a mere census to count the number of people there were. It would not be placed in the section of Scripture that deals with the most holy items on earth if it was all that it was. There's something special here. We got special holy, most holy things, census, most holy things. There's a reason why it's there. This apparent section that seems out of place with the rest of the pattern was not out of place at all. It was the most spiritual and most important section of them all. This was the spiritual formula for redeeming and elevating the people. This simple half-shekel ransom payment was the ticket to the enter into the kingdom of Yahweh. In Exodus 30, verse 11, and Yahweh spoke to Moses, saying, when you take the sum, when you lift up the heads of the children of Israel after their number, then shall they give every man a ransom for his soul unto Yahweh, when thou numbers them, and that there be no plagues among them, when thou numbers them. Moses is told to do a pattern of something that is in the spiritual realm. The tent of the tabernacle is a pattern of what's in heaven. Everything that Moses made is a pattern of what is in heaven. There is a real purpose and point behind this. In the physical realm, he is stating that Israel is not allowed to ever take a census unless they follow these instructions and require a half-shekel payment from each male over the age of 20. This payment went to the upkeep of the tabernacle, financially underwriting the full-time ministers of the day. The spiritual ramifications of this is far and wide. First of all, this half shekel was not a tax. It was a ransom. As the text states, the term ransom is related linguistically to the words atonement and propitiation. The connotation here is that they are paying a price for their very lives in a very real way. They were acknowledging that Yahweh was sovereign, that their lives were from Him and governed by Him. The net result of this understanding was giving him an offering of money. And if they did not give this ransom payment, they were not counted among the children of Israel. the children of the sovereign king. The prophecy, or this prophetic picture of taking this census every year, was to create the blueprint that in order for man to be part of the kingdom of Elohim of Israel, they must be bought. A redemption price must be paid. A ransom must be given to redeem that person so they might live. If one wanted to be counted as part of his people, he must count the cost and pay the price. Being part of his kingdom was not free. There is a cost, and someone had to pay it. This census was the simple annual precursor to what the book of Revelation calls Judgment Day. What else is the Lamb's Book of Life other than a giant census book? Everyone whose name is found in that book is there because they have accepted the ransom payment of the blood of the Lamb as redemption for their souls. And just like the original census, where the payment was no more for the rich and no less for the poor, but all paid the same. So the price to be counted in that final census is also the same for all souls. It was the blood of the Yeshua that was shed for all mankind. It is his blood that NASA elevates and lifts up our heads. Now we have Golgotha. We all know Golgotha. We know what everybody associates with Golgotha. Matthew 27:33, and when they were come unto a place called Golgotha, that is to say, a place of the skull, they gave him vinegar to drink, mingled with gall, and when he had tasted thereof, he would not drink. Many people had tried to find this place of the skull. I've been there. You look at it, I guess you could say it looks sort of like a skull with the two eyeballs. But they're looking for some sort of natural land formation that looks like a skull. But when one seeks to understand the Hebrew culture and the context in which the Bible is written, the meaning of Golgotha not only becomes clear, it also puts the exclamation point on the entire purpose of the original instructions on how to take the census of Israel. In ancient Israel, taking a census meant collecting the half-shekel ransom payment from each male over the age of 20. In Roman times, they physically counted people's heads at certain designated locations throughout each town in the Roman province. The Hebrew word for the Greek Golgotha is Golgoleth. Golgoleth literally means a skull. And when it's put back into its proper context, the true meaning of Golgotha becomes blatantly obvious. Numbers chapter 1, verse 2, take you the sum of all the congregation of the children of Israel, after their families by the house of their fathers, with the numbers of their names, every male by their polls. Poll, number 1538. Golgoleth, meaning head. Poll, skull. Numbers 1:18, and they assembled all the congregation together on the first day of the second month. They declared their pedigrees after their families by the houses of their fathers according to the number of their names, from 20 years old and upward by their polls, Golgoleth. 1 Chronicles 23, verse 24. These were the sons of Levi after the houses of their fathers, even the chief of the fathers, as they were counted by number of names by their polls, Golgoleth, that did the work for the service of the house of Yahweh from the age of 20 years and upward. As you can see from the scriptures, Golgoleth is used in the context of taking a census or poll by counting the heads or skulls of the individuals over the age of 20. By the time the first century rolled along, Golgoleth was called Golgotha in Greek, and became associated with an actual place where they counted people as they entered Jerusalem from the Mount of Olives. Golgotha was on the Mount of Olives at the Red Heifer site, which also bordered one of the major roads that led into Jerusalem. This place was a bottleneck for people coming into the city from the east, and so was a station point for the counting of the skulls, or lifting up the heads. It is also why the Romans crucified criminals at this location, to deter any who were coming into the city with wicked or criminal intentions, that this would be their destiny. This is why it was called Golgotha. Think about the incredible significance of this fact. Yeshua came, and by sacrificing himself for all Israel, he paid the ransom for us according to Torah. But he also died on the very spot where the Romans counted the skulls for their census of anyone coming into Jerusalem. Anyone who desired to come to the holy mountain would first have to go through the outer gate, Golgotha, Yeshua, and be counted as his by accepting the ransom, his blood. That was paid for their entrance. Indeed, Yeshua said himself in John 14, verse 6, Yeshua says unto him, I am the way, the truth, the life. No man comes unto the Father but by me. And then we have count the cost. Luke 14, verse 28. For which of you, intending to build a tower, sits not down first and counts the cost, whatever he have sufficient to finish it, lest happily after he has laid the foundation and is not able to finish it, all that behold it begin to mock him, saying, This man began to build and was not able to finish. Or what king going to make war against another king sits not down first and consults whether he be able with 10,000 to meet him that comes against him with 20,000? Or else, while the other is yet a great way off, he sends an ambassador and desires conditions of peace. So likewise, whosoever he be of you that forsakes not all that he has, he cannot be my disciple. Salt is good, but if the salt has lost his savor, wherewith shall it be seasoned? It is neither fit for the land, nor yet for the dunghill, but men cast it out. He that has ears to hear, let him hear. One of the lessons to be learned from this commandment is that each and every year the people had to decide whether they wanted to be part of his kingdom. There was a cost, and they had to count it. Unfortunately, many people today are taught that there is no cost, that the price was paid on Calvary and the gift of salvation is free. Although Yeshua did pay the ransom price, and our debt has been paid, which by default makes it a free gift, there is a cost in taking that gift. This is what he was talking about in Luke 14, verse 27. Whosoever does not bear his cross and come after me cannot be my disciple. For which of you, intending to build a tower, sits not down first and counts the cost, whether he have sufficient to finish it? The building material may be free, but one must calculate and count the cost of the labor it will take to actually build the house. In the same way, there's a real cost to following Yahweh, his way. We have to stop thinking. We have to stop acting. We have to stop living the way we want and start living according to the Constitution of the government that he gave us. And that Constitution is the Torah. When we choose to be counted among his people, we are saying that we are willing to pay the price. We are dedicated to building up that tower, the house of Yahweh. Our efforts need to be in doing whatever we can do to elevate, to lift, to rise up the name of Yahweh. The ancient children of Israel were committed to supporting those called into full-time ministry with their finances, the gifts of food, cows, sheep, goats, grain, and were willing to donate their labor in order to build up the overall kingdom of Israel. The instruction on how to take a census was far more than just a static set of rules about how to count the children of Israel. It is the section concerning the holy items for a reason. It's a section. In the section of holy items, there is a reason why it was put there. To be counted among his people is the holiest of all realities. His intent was to lift up our heads and elevate us to new heights that are beyond the physical pains of this world. But that choice starts with us. Will we live our lives for ourselves, giving into our will to receive? Or will we spend our time focusing on our will to bestow upon others? That second nature that was given from above to mirror his image in the earth. When we choose to bestow upon others and refuse to receive unto ourselves, we are lifting up the name of the Most High in this earth. And that is what makes us worthy to be counted among his people. Yahweh bless.